Happy Saturday, everybody. If anybody is seeing this, since I'm going to be posting this probably after 6 p.m. Eastern Time. But a lot of things happened yesterday in areas of parts of Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, Kentucky, Northern Tennessee, especially in Kentucky. Areas like Somerset and London, Kentucky got hit especially hard last night with a possible very, very violent to strong to violent tornado, probably greater than EF3 intensity, probably even EF4 plus, with some of the damage pictures I've seen into some people I've talked to. But sadly, it's not over yet. Looking at the GFS model for the 500 millibar height, you can see the jet stream moving out of our area. That'll get rid of all the problems from that storm. And then there's more problems after that. You can see a ridge builds up. This allows for the influx of warm, moist Gulf of Mexico air that will help destabilize the environment. And with the sun beaming down, destabilize the environment in front of here. And then you have the trough bringing in that cold air and dry air from the Mexico area. And where those clash, you get those severe weather kind of in Oklahoma, Nebraska, parts of Texas, maybe north into Nebraska, bits of Colorado. And then it moves off to the east, bringing severe weather to the east, especially on Monday. Looks like it could also be a tornadic risk with this jet stream positioning over there, with values ranging from 60 to 80 knots would bring a lot of wind shear for tornadoes. So let's look at the actual risks. So first, this is the day one risk. This is for today. Storms are expected to fire, especially in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and northern Louisiana. You can see this enhanced risk for areas in Fort Worth, Dallas, Texarkana, Shreveport's just barely out of that warning, and Ardmore, Oklahoma. Anywhere in that area can expect some. This is a hail-driven risk, actually. Still has that wind risk as well, though. But there's a 30% hatched risk of damaging hail. That means pretty high risk of hail 2 inches or greater, which could damage cars, damage houses. So definitely watch out for that. And also anywhere in this yellow risk is that 15%, and then the hatched is that risk of bigger hail. Wind risk, there is also a wind risk. This is a 30% hatched. Only a little hatched area. Most of this 30% area is not hatched, so you can expect a high chance of winds in excess of 60 miles an hour. And then this hatched area, you can expect winds in excess of 70 miles an hour. But this is still mainly a hail-driven risk. Tornado risk is low. You can't rule out a tornado or two anywhere in this area, especially in this 5% area. Thank goodness it's not hatched, so the tornado risk is not as bad. Going to the day 2 risk, you can see an enhanced risk in areas of Kansas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, and Colorado, where that jet stream kind of positions itself, and that low pressure system. Actually, it's the same low pressure system this whole time. That's just going to bring problems over and over again. You can see this pretty much centered bullseye over Wichita, Salina, Topeka, and over here kind of near North Platte, just to the east of Cheyenne. Not sure how to say that. City names are weird. Tornado risks, it is higher during this, so you could have numerous strong tornadoes during this. You can see a 15% hatched risk, so a 15% risk for tornadoes, and the possibility of them being strong, EF2 or greater. So it's definitely something to watch out there. There is also that wind risk. Actually, this is a tornado driven risk in this. You can see this is only a 15% risk for damaging winds. It's not hatched, but anywhere in here can expect winds in excess of 60 miles an hour. And yeah, that's not what I meant to do. 15% wind risk up there in the yellow. And then the hail risk for that is also one of the driving parts of this, probably. This looks like it's actually a hail and tornado driven risk, not wind, which is, we don't see a lot. But you can see a very, very large hatched risk area going through Texas, Kansas, Colorado, and Nebraska, and parts of western Missouri. This is hail greater than 2 inches in diameter. And then in these 30% areas, you can expect numerous storms with significant severe hail. Still not done yet. Moving on to the day 3 risk, there's an even bigger enhanced risk. This actually looks like it could be one of the more tornadic days, especially with what I was saying with that jet stream positioning with the 60 to 80 knot winds, leading to a lot of wind shear. But this enhanced risk outlines parts of pretty much the same areas that are already seeing it. Parts of just north of the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area into Oklahoma, Kansas, bits of Nebraska, and Missouri, and back down into Arkansas. Major cities like Oklahoma City, Kansas City, Springfield, Joplin, Missouri, places like that need to be on the lookout for these damaging storms. And since this is a day 3 outlook, we don't have the tornado risks for that, but we do have a probabilistic risk, and you can see 30% hatched risk for a lot of this area that exactly follows the enhanced risk, and then also that 15% enhanced risk to the west of that. Storms look like they will kind of die off as they move to the east, but can still expect a lot of severe storms in anywhere in this red area. Moving on to the day 4, we're still not even done yet. This day 4 outlook. You can see, this is a 30% severe risk over parts of Mississippi and Tennessee. Looks like it could also be another tornadic day. 30% day 4 risk is pretty rare. You don't see that very often unless the National Weather Service has very high confidence that there will be severe weather in this. And then also anywhere in this 15% risk also needs to be weather aware. This includes major cities like Cincinnati, St. Louis, again, they got hit by a tornado, areas in Kentucky, that Somerset area, Bowling Green, Louisville, Lexington, Evansville, and then down in this enhanced risk, you got Memphis, Birmingham, and Florence, and Huntsville. Now, I said enhanced risk. This isn't necessarily an enhanced risk, but it's the equivalent of an enhanced risk. And finally, day 5, you can see there's finally nothing over the U.S., but that doesn't mean there's not going to be severe storms. This could just mean that the Weather Service doesn't have enough confidence to issue any severe weather outlooks for this. We may even have to expect even more severe weather. Let's take a look at the jet stream after Tuesday and Wednesday when those move out of the way. You can see this positions into actually more of a calm environment for tornadoes and severe weather, especially. You can see a ridge in the west and a trough in the east. This will bring warmer temperatures to the west, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, California, and colder temperatures to much of the Ohio Valley. And in this kind of pattern, you don't see as much severe weather. It will be wetter in the east, but it will be quieter in terms of severe weather. This will position it, though, so that you may get lines of storms, wind bags that kind of start in Minnesota and move its way down through Illinois and Indiana and Ohio. And it looks pretty quiet from then. You can still see that really large ridge goes all the way up into Canada, warm temperatures all the way up into Canada. Then eventually it looks like we may get back into the severe weather period with this kind of setup. You can see the ridge in the east with the warm temperature being advected northward, and then that trough bringing in that dry air, and that could cause some severe weather across the clashing area. But this is way too far out to definitely say definitively. This is, next month. So that's still a long ways away. Looking at the actual composite reflectivity, you can see the storms today are expected to fire along Texas and Oklahoma and form into a lot of discrete supercells and maybe some linear modes as well, bringing some damaging hail. You can see the storms also move to the north in Oklahoma and Nebraska. These storms, as they exit through Arkansas and Louisiana, you can see after the daytime heating, once it becomes nighttime, those start to die off as they don't have that instability anymore. They move into a more stable environment. You can see storms fire back again in Texas. This looks like a wind bag, and then you got some isolated supercells out in front. Again, these days aren't as tornadic. And then you get to kind of Monday, kind of the main event. You get some storms firing along Nebraska and Iowa. Why am I forgetting the state? Wait. Oh my gosh, I forgot about Kansas. Nebraska and Kansas. Sorry, that makes me look stupid. But you get storms firing along here, especially some of these isolated supercells out in front and all the way down into parts of Missouri. As that moves out of the way, you can see the spinning up here. That low pressure system just stalls there. And then here's probably, here's the main event, the Monday severe weather outbreak with supercells and that tornadic risk. You can see supercells all along this line, and as they move off to the east, they congeal into a linear mode, which increases that wind risk as it moves off into Missouri and Oklahoma. And this is as far out as the NAM 3 kilometer goes. And so after that, we're not completely sure, because the only other models that go further are, for example, the NAM, but you can see how much lower quality that is. If I go to the same place, see, they kind of move off to the east, and then you get some reignition of storms in the Ohio Valley, and that's alongside that day 4 risk right here. One thing to talk about is also the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. You can see it's going to be a lot warmer in the west and a lot colder in the east. Again, that's a very big change in pattern. Normally when you have, for example, very warm air in the east and cold air in the west, so for example, if this was switched, that's when you get a lot of that severe weather in the clashing area. But when you get warm air in the west and cold air in the east, that's a lot calmer. It'll be wetter in this area, a lot more rain, but it'll generally be quieter. But we still have a little bit of time until this takes place. You see 6 to 10 day, so this will come together on Friday. So until then, we still got a pretty active period of severe weather coming ahead, so everybody needs to be very weather aware and have a way to get warnings. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this taught you something, got you prepared for some of the weather, and I'll try and make more updates later. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.